We're now on part two of JavaScript. Uh, it's about getting the basics right of this web fundamentals and going deep on different views of this JavaScript. So what I mean by different views is that we will look at how this JavaScript works on the console, on the browser console, and how it works on the Node server environment, because that's two ways to run JavaScript. So first, we will start with variables and constants. So I created a folder for variables and constants for illustration purpose. So this variable, this is an example of a variable. So let first name, so it's a variable declaration, and then first name equal John. We initiate the variable. So we can combine this initialization, let last name equal Bill, and then when we run that on the screen, we will see this John Doe. So basically, this JavaScript language has this variables, data types and operators, function parameters and return values, object and array. So we will discuss that in detail later, but this is just a syntax, a basic syntax, kind of like a language. You start with a basic grammar and syntax, and then as you go along, you use a sentence, right? To or and then paragraph and essays um, to create something that is better than the individual parts. So it's one of the best way to think about this language. So we open that, it shows that's what it shows. So let's just see the code here. So this console.log, it's a function or method of JavaScript that allows us to show the first name and then last name. Now, if we remove this document.body.inner HTML, change the HTML of that web page. But if we remove this, we won't be able to see the that on the screen, because we actually need DOM API, which is that code document.body.in HTML of JavaScript to change the element of HTML or change the structure of the plate, right? So and then in this video, I will start with the end in mind. So basically, um, there is here is the complex code. So this is the most complex code, including all these syntaxes. I'll show you how this works. So here, there's the combination of this variables, constant data types, functions. So we use variables here, data types like Boolean. When we toggle this, we use Boolean, true or false. And then we use a form, we use an array here for dynamically changing this entire function. So one of the best way to understand here, this is a metaphor. So we will start. We will gonna go to the metaphor later, but it's good to start with this because what we will be coding is a function. It's like a moving company that dynamically um, put an items in a house using array and for loops. So let's say you want to automate the process of moving your items from different houses. So you just need to create an array or a list of items that you want to do or to put in order in the house, and then the crew or the employees will dynamically do it for you without your surveillance. So here, variables and constants, that data types and operators. So that's the variables, we discussed that. Constants, here's one of the best way to understand this. Here. So constants basically are variable that do not change. So we usually use constant for um, values that do not change. So like this rooms, in this room there's a kitchen, living room, bedroom, bathroom, terrace. So we use let, and then the name of the constant and then the values. So that's one of the examples of constants. And then another is so that's one of the example of data types, Boolean values, strings. So this is like a string. So it is enclosed by one quotation mark, and then numbers. So here is example of numbers for this for loop. So that's one of the syntaxes of JavaScript, but we will explain this later. Um, we will start first with object. So for control structure, this is the I forgot to have the control structure here. Data types and operators and control structure. So basically, the control structure is like the if-else statement. We will use that all of these concepts in our last code later, which is the one that I show you here. Use all of these concepts. So for control structures, one of the things that it didn't use, our last code won't are not able to use is the case control structure. So here is the example code for that. Here, so this is the case. Basically, this is like an if else statement, but it use case. So this image past that PNG will be used if the value of the case is the test result is 0, and this info.png will be used if the value is 1. So I'll show you guys this how this dynamically change the page. But before that, yeah, before that, I will show you. I'll show you the structure of the folder. So here's the structure, control structure, and here's the image. So this is the path.jpg and info.jpg. So here is the script. So as you can see in this element, I insert a test result ID. So this test result ID of this HTML is dynamically changed. So here, if test element equal image. So I'll show you guys the what happened if I change the number. So this is the first test result JPG that will be open if the value is 1. And then if 0, so you can see guys, it will change to here, to the house metaphor. So this is just an overview, guys. Again, there is like more data types available for JavaScript, and we won't be able to discuss all here. I'll just show you guys a metaphor that will allow us to quickly learn this complicated, very complicated language. So here, let's see, index.html. So third is function parameters and return value. So I'll show you in the console, guys, how this works. So this is an example of an if-else statement for the control structure. So, sorry, before we get to function parameters and values, we go to the if-else statement. So this if-else statement, first we define a variable, password too short, and then we equate that to password that length. Another thing is that a function, this is actually one of example of a function, of defining a function. So this let password, we equate this to password that length less than 10. So if we let the message equal to quote, and then if password too short, message equal the password must contain. Basically, guys, the point here is that here, if the password meets all the condition, here's what will return. The password meets all the condition. And if the yeah, so that's basically I forgot, sorry guys, I forgot that, but it's just like an if else statement. So here, here's the case. So we'll go now to object and and array, literal notation, metaphor. So an object and array literal notation metaphor is basically a combination of, you can think of that as a combination of the array and then for loop concepts, and then we apply a metaphor to it using a house. So we use an object if we don't care about the order how we move the how we put the items inside the house. Let's say you want to put this item, fridge, couch, bed, shower, and you don't worry about the order. You use object literal notation. But if you worry about the order or the structure, and then you want to use that over and over again, you use the array. So objects is actually another data type of JavaScript. So that's one of the reason it became an object-oriented programming language. So we can use object to do that. So I'll give you an example for that, object literal notation. here. So that's this is an arrays and for loop. So when we open this in a notepad, we will see this. So another thing I want to discuss is how the JavaScript dynamically change the web page. So basically, we, we use DOM API. So that DOM API is like here is the metaphor. So here is one of the DOM API. Basically, that is a JavaScript function that we use to dynamically change the structure or HTML or the plate of a web page. So here is inner HTML. It's a function and then write that document. It's a function as well. But the difference with that DOM API, this function DOM API, is this inner HTML, it will add or it will dynamically change the HTML or the plate without waiting for the script that this write that document that HTML. I'll show you an example, guys. Is here. So here we just see this text, right? But if we look at the code for that, no, it's not the HTML. So the important here is the JavaScript code. So this is the code for that. Here, you have this document that write DOM API and house that print description. This house that print description executed first in the browser because here is our constant house and then dot print description. So we use an object literal notation here. So basically this print description was executed because this dot kitchen here is the kitchen, fridge and oven, and this dot living room, couch and TV was executed first, fridge and oven, couch and TV. So here, fridge and oven, and couch and TV was executed before this, even though this comes first on the on our code, right? Because this is the metaphor. It's the inner HTML function will is like sticky notes that paste the sticky notes on a notebook as the writer types or copy the script. So you can think of that as a sticky note that do that, paste it as the writer write the script that he is copying, and write that document is like a writer pulling the script and then writing it in a notebook and then wait before it turns the page, right? Because you cannot write partially to every page of the notebook. So I hope you guys understand that metaphor. But that's basically the point here is how we combine this concepts, the constant, how we use this constant house, and then we define a kitchen, a property. This kitchen is the property, and the value is fridge and oven, living, couch and TV, and how we use this. constants inside our DOM API, or which is the function like this house that kitchen, and then this our implementation of our HTML knowledge, which is the paragraph, right? It dynamically adds p, because if we remove this p, as you'll see that the you you remember guys that this P is for block elements for HTML, so we won't be able to change it. Hmm, some reason the backspace is not working. Let's cut it. So if we remove all this P guys, you'll see how it dynamically change it. If we remove that, see, hmm, we're not able to save it. Hmm. Here. So it will look like that if we remove this P, because this is actually an indentation for HTML. So that's how we use DOM API. Another thing, another view, as I mentioned, I will be providing ways to um, show you views. So let's go back to let's go back to this variables. So I think it provides us a basic. Uh, hmm, let's close this. I don't know why I'm not able to copy it here. So remember, JavaScript are implemented um, uh, as a built-in running time for browser. Here, when we implement this, here, you'll see John Doe. But if we don't have the inner HTML, if we run this on the console, let's remove this. Here, it still show John Doe. And we can actually run this in Node.js as well in our integrated environment. So I'll show you guys how to do that. Windows user. Hmm. For some reason, guys, my um, keyboard is not working because I have too many um, items, too many process or apps that's running on the background. So let's go now on the function. So function, basically, one of the best way to understand a function is to apply this on our a real world scenario or a metaphor, right? So we first gather ingredients and then follow the recipe and then the output delicious cake. So that's basically the function. So it has parameters. You pass parameters to a function and it returns an output. So this is the return output, the delicious cake. Wow. So who are you guys are hungry right now because of how boring I am? Let me, so here, let's go here. So as you can see, guys, there isn't um, return values here. So that's interesting, right? So there's no HTML manipulation that happened. So it's just we only see the value in the console. So it's the same. It's 23 because here's the code for that. It doesn't have a DOM API. So that's one of the ways to look at it, right? Function sum xy, because we input 11 and 12, it returns 23. Now, if we input 10 and then 15, it should return 25. Now, let's reload here, 25. Now, for us to be able to implement that and change the plate of the customer as our restaurant metaphor, we just need to connect that through via DOM API of JavaScript. And we will discuss DOM API later. I think it's important to explain DOM API with this syntax, basic syntaxes like variables, functions, because it helps you to see the different views or different um, perspective early on, because those different perspective like this I'm teaching, it's a different perspective from just reading or taking the course, right? It's a different way of learning. So those things I think are missing when people are teaching this web development. And obviously, it's always best to begin with the end in mind and with the big picture. So, yeah, here is the diagram of so for loops within arrays and data structure. So the data structure of these for loops, let's go back. So the data structure, remember, array of array literal notation. So I'll show you an example first of array literal notation. Here, an example of that. Here is an array literal notation. So for array literal notation, it's like a moving company that has a data structure for its arrays. So everything between these arrays, let's say this kitchen, living room, bedroom, will be followed in order. Because for array literal notation, you care about the order because you want to repeat that loop so that you don't need to think about it. For objects, literal notation, you don't care about the order of how you move the items in the house. So here, this is one of the commands or function for array. How's that house item that push? So this is one of the methods. So that uh, it's a built-in property of JavaScript that you can use to insert or append something on the array. You can also concat using the concat method. So I recommend you guys, if you're interested, going into the details for that. So yeah, push, and then we can also delete that using delete uh, method. So here we insert fridge, couch, and bed. So here is the array. So here is the index. So this index will contain the list of items that you want in the house, like kitchen, living room, and bedroom. Now you push fridge and then couch and then bed. When you push that, it will put that here. like this, like that. So when we do that, as you can see, there are now fridge, couch, and bed on the list items as we see on the fridge, couch, bed here. Fridge, couch, bed because we put something. But as you can see, there is, let's see, let's start. So here kitchen, this is the room, okay, living, um, kitchen, living room, and bedroom. Now, on those rooms in the house, we push the items using this fridge. So we push the fridge to the kitchen because that's the first one. So that's the order. We always follow the order. If we put couch here, then and then kitchen here, you'll see that this couch will go to the kitchen. Hold on. So if we put the fridge here and the couch here, this couch will go to this kitchen, and then this fridge will go to this living room, as you can see. So, and then when we add another items, oven and wardrobe on 3 and 4, so 3 and 4 basically on this 3 and 4. So it always starts, by default, it always starts with 0, 0, 1, 2, and then 3, 4. So this oven and wardrobe will go at the end. So yeah, so that's the arrays and data structure for that. So we'll go more about the details about data structures, but that's basically one of the applied in real world application of that data structure. It's like this. You're moving box knowing that you want order so that you can repeat it. So we'll go now here, programming using arrays and for loops. So programming, what I mean by programming using arrays and for loops is that you are using a combination of JavaScript syntaxes like arrays, for loops within arrays. So here, there's a for loops within arrays in this code. So you're using this to dynamically or repeat this on other house or application. So you're doing it once so that you will never have to do it again later. So house items that push here. So here's the script. Here's our HTML, and then body script. So here's our constants, and then we push that. So when we check it here, here is the, let's check the code. Here is the HTML for this. So again, guys, this has HTML. You are seeing this in the screen because it has an HTML. It dynamically changed HTML using the DOM API. So this for loop. So we use for let if the index is equal 0, and then if index is less than house items length, we increment it. So that's what it means. And then the output items will be on list of HTML. So here we use document that get element by ID item that inner HTML to dynamically change this. So rooms, here is the rooms and items. As you can see here, we have ID for rooms and items. Because this DOM API, they dynamically changes HTML using the ID. Again, it's worth repeating and worth explaining all of those, how all those works together. for us to visualize it. So that is here. So here is the process. Room item. So here here is the last part of our discussion. Using function parameters to apply the push of the for loop in an array. So remember we dynamically change the loops to inside an array to change something on the screen. Imagine doing that over and over again. But instead, we can wrap that arrays and loops in a function. So here's what we'll do on our last topic here. So it's a combination of all, but here we don't need, I'll show you the code for this. We don't need a we don't need to manually change it in the array and for loop. We just need to do it on the screen dynamically. So here is the code for this. So we use an HTML button. So it's a new element uh, that we haven't discussed, but yeah, that's one of the things that we can add on HTML. So on click, so it's a DOM API we use to add room and item. So in this array for house rooms, you can dynamically add more rooms here. Kitchen, living room, house items, room So we define a room availability constants for Boolean data types, and this is the function display room and items. And then we define another constant. As you see, guys, the most important thing here is how it became complicated when we can combine all of this concepts or syntax to create this program. So let output rooms equal this, and then for let I equals 0. So this is the for loop. So index, it will for output rooms, for this index, start with 0, and then as long as room dot length, it will increment, and then it will output it to h4 heading with the rooms, and then this on the list on the house item. So h4, this is there kitchen, living room, bedroom, terrace. So if we add, so basically that means like H4, right? So that's on the heading 4. As you can see, the house items is in list because here's the items here in list. It shows in a unordered list. So room availability. So we add the room availability for our Boolean values. Uh, so it adds a button to toggle the room's occupation status. So these are connected to this room availability. And here, the button on click toggle occupancy, it's connected to this, this toggle occupancy. So this is just a front end, guys. We just use DOM, basic DOM API on the front end. We haven't actually used the back end structure that we discussed in the previous videos, which is the database and our Node.js server. So that adds more complexity on this. But here we display rooms and items, and we call the display function. So basically, we pass the values to this function using this. So instead of appending the array on the to the array, we just use this form. So room name, what's the room name? Let's say what is the room name? Let's say my room. So in my room, put an aircon. So because I can sleep without an aircon. So on my room, now you have an aircon and you can just toggle this to see if it's occupied. So yeah, guys, that's a different views for that. And this is the last another view, right? Another perspective. So this is a diagram showing the this app or this yeah, you can look at it as a program. So this program, you input a room or an item, and then there's an add button. So add room and item, you get the input values, validate the inputs, then push to arrays. Again, for validating input, guys, we use an if-else statement for that. Again, that's a basic, also that's a basic function or syntax of JavaScript is handling errors. So if new room in item room that push house that push or room availability that push else alert please fill in both the room and item fields. So here like when we add this you'll see this so it handles the error because of that if else statement. So there are three ways to there's like a different control structure for if else, but I think the most important is the whole set of syntax, including the objects and arrays, data types. But there you go, guys. This is the basic of JavaScript. It's just an introduction, guys. There is a lot more to it, so yeah, I think it's still useful for people to learn this or watch this video. So thank you for watching.